Hello. Thank you, everyone who's joining us. I'm so grateful to see all of you. I have to put my glasses on so I can see all of you. Um, Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor and a pleasure to sit with all of you, depending on your time zone at 7 p.m. here. Um, so thank you, Andrew, for having me. And um, just gonna take a moment, if you would all just take a moment and have a deep centering breath with me. Just allow the spirit of our great mother to join us today for this entire beautiful session that has been put together. So many wonderful speakers. So ground your feet into the earth and set your intention for what you hope to feel and accomplish and manifest today. And we give thanks to the Great Mother for all that she freely gives us. So I'm Trista Hendren. I founded Girl God Books about 14 years ago because my daughter could not identify with a male image of God. I come from both a Christian and a Muslim background, and I was first raised very Christian fundamentalist and basically taught like everyone else is wrong. So I really wanted to raise my children in an interfaith household. And I tried to do that. But when my daughter was 5, we had this conversation that sparked my first book where she just couldn't identify with a male God. And she felt like this is something that's only for my brother, not for me. And um, it was very painful for me because I considered myself at that point as a feminist. And I really felt like I failed my daughter, but I also realized all the ways that patriarchal religion had failed me, that I hadn't even realized, but I just kind of accepted as, this is how life is. So, thank you, Andrew. Um, so in any case, that sparked a spiritual journey for me. I did not come from this. I never planned actually to do this sort of work. I have an MBA. I was a mortgage broker for 13 years. Um, But I think this topic of manifestation is very interesting to me because it is something that is very near and dear to my heart. And I guess I started with this journey with Sark. I don't know who all is familiar with her, but I've done probably all her workbooks. And I remember a few years ago, I had loaned one of my workbooks that I had written all my dreams into the book and didn't even think about that. I just knew she needed the book, but she's like, she read all my notes as well as the book. And she's like, do you realize that you have manifested every single thing that you set out for yourself all those years ago? Um, and I hadn't actually. Um, I was a single mother for a while. I had a really difficult relationship with my children's father. He struggled with addictions and basically I lost everything. I lost my home. I had to file for bankruptcy. It was really, really difficult. And basically, I made a list at that point of 45 things that I required in a man before I would even bother. I think that's what my headline was on my list. And then I just sort of put it away because my children were young. I was still breastfeeding my daughter at that time. And every once in a while, I would pull it out again and look at it and maybe scratch out something or add something. Um, but I really wanted to spend that time with my children and focus and have that time be spent on their precious young childhoods. So then out of nowhere, 14 and a half years ago, the man of my dreams exactly appeared from Norway. And we just had like mutual Facebook friends, and he sent me a message and he's like, hi, this is Anders from Norway. And I was like, wow, he is so cute. So we started talking back and forth, and then I think 3 days later, we spent 8 hours straight talking nonstop. And we did that for like a week until we were both like too exhausted because it's a 9 hour time difference. So um, I'm big on manifestation. Um, I think it's so powerful, but I think it's also, I have a very strong, I think probably because of my Muslim experience, that I feel very strongly about social justice and wanting everybody to have everything that they deserve in life. And I think oftentimes that's where we get a little bit out of step with the manifestation, because of course everybody wants to have like this amazing life and all these, wonderful things. But really, where I would like to see manifestation go is manifesting for the entire world and for all the children of the world to bring back a matriarchy, um, bring back the world as it was meant to be instead of this patriarchal shit show that we are in right now. So, one of my practices every day is just on manifesting my dreams and my hopes for the world. And I think it's something, I think manifesting can be very, very simple. Like it doesn't have to be like this. I mean, I love vision boards. I haven't done one for a long time, but um, I think for me, it's like a daily practice in my bed before I get up every morning is thinking about like, um, first of all, I create circles of protection around all my friends, all my family, the people in Gaza, my family in Lebanon. Um, but then I also began to think about like not the reality that we're living in currently, but the reality that I would so like to see. And um, I think that we can reach that reality. It's just that we need more people to actually to begin envisioning it. One of my mentors was Carol P. Christ, who's a goddess foremother and theologian. And she always says, or said, she's passed unfortunately, that we cannot bring about a society of peace unless we can imagine it first. So I think one of the most important things about manifestation is thinking about this because it will benefit everybody, no matter how little or much money that you have. We really need a world that is centered on peace and justice and children. I think children need to be the most important thing in the world, um, because children also bring joy to everybody. And to me, there's no greater joy than little kids. So um, I guess what I'd like to do is just ask you to join me in a visualization of what the world could be. And you can add in your own things, maybe if you want to put in into the chat. But let's just close our eyes and envision a world. Imagine for a moment with me a world where everybody has everything that they need. There's no hunger, there's no starvation, there's no crime, there's no stealing. We are living in love and abundance. Every meal is carefully curated. We have so much beautiful food, so much fruit from the vine. We have herbs everywhere. We have beautiful, beautiful flowers everywhere that we enjoy, that we can sit with our family in community. Every day we sit together in community and have breakfast and then lunch and then dinner. And each is a feast where everybody has enough and it's abundant and beautiful. So many olives, so many beautiful breads. You can fill in the blank, whatever your favorite food is. Food is a tricky subject now. But the important part is that everybody has enough and everybody has enough of what they want and what they need. They have the clothes that they love to wear, that they feel beautiful in. The women feel sensuous and sexy and beloved. The children feel they have the toys that they need, the love that they need, the support and the structures in place, the education or not. Maybe unschooling is appropriate here. Um, but just imagine how this world could be. That people of whatever gender could make love or not, be together or not, be in solitude, but always know that there was a community there waiting for them with love, acceptance, joy, peace. And we all were together in community. Women had their times together where, if they are bleeding, they can sit in solitude and rest. They can take care of each other, massage each other, tend to each other, and everybody has their turn. Everybody is taken care of. Everybody lives in a way that works for them and the community. And that's just a starting point because there's so much more we can envision. But then I think we also have to be practical and think, what do we need to do to make this kind of a world happen? So I don't know if anyone wants to write anything in the chat um, for ideas on that. Don't see anything, but I think we have a long ways to go, actually, before we hit this sort of a world. But I do think it's possible. So Andrew has written to the chat about the free gift that I'm offering. And it's an ebook of our anthology about Lilith. It's called Original Resistance, Reclaiming Lilith, Reclaiming Yourself. And I think part of reclaiming this world that we actually really want is in reclaiming these goddesses, especially the goddesses that maybe are not well known or not considered the nice goddesses. Deborah says, I'm getting no messages. That's okay. I think the messages will come when they're ready to come. I always like to say we're not living on patriarchal time, we're living on goddess time. And so many of the things that I have manifested, they didn't come right away. They came when they were ready. So one example I'll give is that, um, thanks. So, where to start with this one? This is going way back, but being a single mother, who actually had been married to a man with a considerable amount of money who just didn't feel like paying child support, I struggled with not getting child support for my children for, I don't even know, at least 5 years. And it was very frustrating because, kids are expensive. But I kept putting it out there. And eventually I ended up getting all my back child support. And then I was able to buy the house that I live in now, which if I looked at it, when I first looked at it, it was not exactly the house that I wanted to live in. It looked like a dump. And, but the good thing was that we have 4 children between my husband and I, and it would fit all of us. And it was a house that we could afford. So, we have spent 7 years fixing it up, and now it is my dream house. But one of the aspects of this house, when we purchased it, is that there was a marina down the street, and I've always loved boats, and I grew up with boats, and but I hadn't had one for a long time. So when we purchased this house, I had the intention that it would be a shame to live in this home 2 blocks from a marina and not have a boat. So a few months ago, um, we got a notification out of the blue that we had a spot at the marina. So that took 7 years. And then I said, great, we don't have a boat. So I kind of just left that up to my husband because I had no idea even what we would find. And I kind of just thought we would just get some dumpy little boat. Then out of nowhere, a man came with this beautiful wooden boat that's like 45 years old. That's like our dream boat. And he basically wanted almost nothing for the boat. He just wanted to know that the people who would have the boat from then on would be people that would take good care of it and love the boat and honor the boat and cherish the boat. So now we have this gorgeous boat, but it didn't happen all at once. So um, yeah, so I'm enjoying. So I'm just going to try to keep up on some of these comments. Katie says, we women have to come together as one to be able to come into our power and to the life that was meant for each of us. Yes, I think that's so important. And one of the things that always kind of confuses people is that I say that my sister-in-laws in Lebanon, who are Shia Muslims, have a much better life than most of the Western women that I know. And primarily, I think that's because of the community that they have there, and that, every day, when I was doing the manifestation earlier, I was thinking about that every day they do come together in community. And I don't know how many of you make Lebanese food, but I do a lot because I love it. It's not really a one-person job. It's really meant for like 5 or 6 different families to each contribute like their best dish and then come together and share. And I think so much of what we're missing now is this ability to come together. And there, of course, there are some sacrifices in being in close community, but I think actually you get so much more out of it than what you lose, because I think we're really missing out on the loving connections. And of course, we have some groups that get together as women, women's groups, women's circles, and those are really wonderful. And if you're not a part of one, I would really encourage everybody here to become a part of one, or if you're a man or gender nonconforming, to find a group that works for you. Actually, that word sounds really bad as it comes out of my mouth, gender nonconforming. That was a bit strange phrasing, but anyway, gender fluid. I don't think any of us want to be conforming. Yeah, I don't see why we should just submit to this random binary of how people should be. Um, don't know if anyone else wants to put anything in on the comments.
Hi, Trista.
I'd love this to be a bit more interactive. Yes.
I was wondering if you had another process that you could walk us through to help us break or surrender to our manifestations.
Yeah, I think it's really um difficult for a lot of us because I think patriarchy instills shame in all of us, particularly women. Um, so for me, actually, I'm going to bring in another boat metaphor because this boat, I think if I knew what I was getting into when my husband said because we brought the boat across the Norwegian Sea, it took us 8 days, and it's a wooden boat. I have bruises all over my body, like I'm sore everywhere. Um, I don't think I would have agreed, although that's what needed to happen to bring the boat here. But what I realized when I was on the boat is, and I think this is a tendency I've had my entire life, I'm 50, is that I'm always bracing myself. I'm bracing my whole body and like, oh, all tensed up, waiting for the next wrong thing to happen. And one of the things that I really learned on the boat, I think probably the best lesson was you just have to surrender to the waves. And, if there's a big massive waves, you actually have to go straight into them. And that's the best way for like to get through the process quickly and safely. And life is much the same, I think, that we just have to. I think there's a Toni Morrison quote, and it's not about the waves, but it's something like if you surrendered to the wind, you could ride it. And instead of being like, ooh, resisting, just surrendering into the flow. And, I think everyone has to come to their own, maybe almost desperation before they get to that point where you can just surrender and say, okay, you know what? This is what's going to happen, and it will be great. Ultimately, it will end up as it's meant to be, and it won't be terrible or hard. It will just be the process, and whatever comes out of it, you will learn from it, and um, it will be beautiful.
I Sorry again, I'm here. I was wondering, do you have a process to help women and men, if there's any in the audience, to break free from patriarchy and to break free from that shame and guilt that come with manifestation at all? That you could walk us
I
through
think,
or anything like that?
yeah, sorry for my dog. I should have moved her outside. Um, I think breaking through and out of patriarchy is a lifelong process because it's so ingrained and it's been with us for at least 5,000 years. And so we have to be gentle with ourselves because I still catch myself and I've been active in trying to, um, and I even have a book about reprogramming yourself from patriarchy. Um, there's so much in our society, whether it's like Bible verses, like hymns, like so we've rewritten two of the books that we've done are rewritten hymns and Christmas songs because you don't even think about, like Christmas songs every year are reindoctrinating you every single year into Christianity, whether you want them to or not, because they're blared from everywhere. The hymns, every time, even if you don't go to church, every time you go to a funeral or a wedding, you hear all this reindoctrination. So, like, we came together as community and rewrote a lot of the words to these songs so that they would have a different meaning instead of this patriarchal indoctrination. Because the other thing is, like, again, to quote Carol P. Christ, is that so many of us, even if we like disengage from patriarchy, whenever we hit a really rough spot in our life, a lot of us will come back to um, a Bible verse or a hymn or something to be soothing to us. But is it really soothing? Not really, because it's just reindoctrinating this acceptance of a world order that never should have been in the first place. So I think we have to like go back so far into all the different things. And I do think it's important to reclaim them as our own and come up with our own words, our own prayers, our own everything, because um, the way that the world has been set up does not work for most people, including most men. Um, okay, so Sue, can you share some of the female words to songs? Yeah, okay. So like for instance, we just recently put out a anthology on Asherah, who is a hidden goddess in the Bible. You can find her mentioned 40 times in the Bible. So those of us who grew up in the church probably grew up singing "How Great Thou Art." And I don't know if I'll remember all the words. The thing is, this is how insidious patriarchy is. Even though I have rewritten at least 10 of these hymns myself, I still have to, and I don't have a book handy here, I still have to almost always look at the book myself as I sing the song because I will still revert to the patriarchal lyrics of the song. So instead of like, "Oh Lord, my God, when I in awesome wonder," then we change it to, "Oh Asherah, when I in awesome wonder consider all of the worlds thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the falling thunder, thy path throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my God is always be. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, God is always be. How great thou art. Um, anyway, just little shifts. Um, and I think the next verse gets into like how we burnt her body. And, we have desecrated the body of the goddess. We've desecrated the body of the living Mother Earth. We've desecrated all of these goddesses that have been with us for hundreds of thousands of years. Um, and it hasn't benefited anybody. And we are seeing the end of our natural world. Like, if we don't come together now and change this, we're done. And that's a terrible thing to think about, but we have to actually do something to stop it. Andra, did I answer your question?
Hi. It cleared a little bit of things up, yeah. But thank you for sharing and thank you for giving us a little bit of processes and some talks about patriarchy and how we can escape it. Okay. I think someone did have a question. I feel your pain and concerns and maybe aligning the divine masculine alongside the divine feminine. I don't think that's a question, it's more so a comment, but do you have a response to that?
Um, hmm. I think we've had a long reign of the divine masculine, and I don't know that I would even really call it the divine masculine. I would call it oppression. But certainly, the divine masculine is a beautiful thing when it is in alignment with the divine. And I think my husband and my son are very good examples of that. Um, I do you think, though, that we need to be discerning about um, what masculine we let in because it has been destructive for a long time. And also, I think women need to have um, some healing around what has been done for so many thousands of years. So it will take time. But of course, yeah, with a perfect union is both and all, and either or, all of the above. So it's uh it's complicated, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Alrighty. Okay. Thank you again so much for your expertise and for sharing your magic again. It was really wonderful to have you and wonderful to share in all of your delightful knowledge. Okay. I'm
Thank you
going
so
to,
much. I hope it's a really wonderful event, and I know it will be. So